In this video, you're going to learn my trick, Mercury. We're going to break everything down into simple steps and explain it carefully so that you gain the confidence you need to perform it smoothly anytime, anywhere. You'll learn the sleights first so you can develop the muscle memory you need to do them smoothly and freely and openly. Then we'll put the whole thing together so you can concentrate on the presentation and all the little details that make a simple trick amazing. So here we are in Williamsburg, Virginia. People all around. This is the greatest place to do street magic. Let's go. Just 4.
There's just 4.
It'll come in later here. Hold the deck. Just hold it for me.
You hold that? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, 4 aces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch the ace of hearts.
Okay.
Ace of hearts. See if I just shake the ace like that, then it turns over.
What?
Here's the ace of clubs. Watch the ace of clubs. See, that one turns over too.
Ah!
Shake it one more time like this. That one turns over. The last one, the ace of diamonds. That's the hardest one. They're all turned in. Oh, that's pretty good, right? Pretty good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
still lost.
How's this?
What?
Now they're all kings. Whoa.
What?
Whoa, that was over the top right there.
This is like some David Blaine stuff right now.
Hold the kings
Okay.
and spread through the deck. Look through the deck. Just spread through. Somewhere in the center you should see something.
What? What?
She just wasn't
Craziness.
What the heck?
You got a connection with the cards.
That's great. I like it.
One of the great things about Mercury is its flexibility. You can change around at any time to fit the situation. Whenever I'm performing, I'm constantly watching my audience to see how they react, and I change my routine around to fit them. Different people react differently to magic, and you need to be able to tell the different types. Now, having a set routine is great, especially for a beginner, but one of the marks of a really experienced performer is the ability to tailor-make a routine that will work best for your spectator. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean doing different tricks, but it does mean at least changing them around so that it will work best for the person you're performing for. In this video, you're going to see several different variations on one basic method. You can use these to make your own trick and to change it around whenever you need to. The first move you're going to learn is called the Ascanio spread. It looks like this. I have 4 face-up aces here, and I've concealed 4 more inside them. I'll show you with just 1 card first to make it easier for you to follow it. Start out with 2 cards on top, 2 cards on the bottom. Those 4 cards will be seen. Any cards in the middle will not be. Hold the packet in your right hand, second finger and thumb, at the nearest corners to your right hand. Your left hand grabs the packet with your first finger and thumb. Your top card gets broken off by your thumb. Bottom card broken off by your first finger. So you've pinched the cards between them like this. Your second finger breaks off the second card from the bottom, like that. I'll go through that one more time. Thumb breaks off the top card, first finger breaks off the bottom card, second finger breaks off the second from the bottom card, showing all 4 aces. The extra cards are right here, right where they started, in the right hand. Now, at full speed, it should look like this. It all happens almost at the same time. The beauty of this move is that all the cards move around independently. My right hand is making little circles like this, my left thumb is doing that, and my first and second fingers are just sort of moving around in there. Because of this, every place where there are two cards touching is moving, so it looks like there couldn't be any space where a card could be hidden in this spread. If you're worried about people seeing this, because you'll be doing this with 5 cards here, we'll go into tips and keeping that hidden later in the video. Here's one more spread, also by Ascanio. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. It all depends on the people I'm performing for in the situation. Here's what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4 aces, and I've concealed a card right here. You start with 4 aces on the top, and your extra card or cards that will be concealed are underneath it. That whole packet goes into left hand dealer's grip. Push one card into your right hand. Second one goes beneath it. The third one gets pushed up here. Your second finger in your right hand catches the corner and pushes it up. It also sort of rotates on your thumb here. The reason you want it there is that you have a thick packet right here. It'll be 5 cards thick. And when you tilt this up later, you don't want them to see the edge. So that hides it. You don't have to worry about your big thick packet anymore. Now, you're going to move both your hands both your wrists at the same time as you do this. The reason is that this card will be a 5 block thick, and you can't move it like you can this bottom card. You just can't do it. So you move both your hands at the same time, and it will hide the fact that this card is staying with that hand. Now, I'm drawing all my attention to my right hand. I'm gesturing with it, and I'm looking at this hand. This is a very important principle of misdirection that a lot of people aren't very aware of. It's basically they look where you look. If you look at this hand, they'll look at this hand. If you're doing a trick and you have a sleight that you can't do without looking at it, you haven't perfected that sleight. Because they will look where you look, and if you're staring at your hands doing a hard trick, they'll look at your hands too. So I'm drawing all my attention to my right hand. I'm gesturing with it and not my left hand, and I'm just focusing on this hand. The reason I do that is because I'm going to have a very subtle difference between my two hands. But it's very important. My right hand will be tilted up just a little bit so that it's about on eye level of the spectators. They'll be able to see just barely underneath it, right about on eye level. That will tell them subconsciously that there are no extra cards in this hand. I don't want to draw too much attention to it, because if I suggest that there are no cards in this hand, it will automatically suggest to the spectators that there might be cards. I don't want that. So I tell them subconsciously there are no cards in here. My left hand is going to be as like this hand as possible. I want it to look almost the same. I tilt it up as far as I possibly can without exposing this here. When they think back later and they remember the trick, they'll remember both cards, both hands being the same. And so they'll naturally assume that both hands are empty, don't have any extra cards. Now all you do is put them together like this, and you're ready for the next phase. Now that you have your 4 aces and 4 kings, you can either do this spread or go straight to an Ascanio. I'll do this one if I think people are noticing maybe he has extra cards. If they're skeptical, I'll generally do this extra spread to help prove. If they don't, I don't bother. There's no reason to, because you'll show them there are only 4 cards later with an Ascanio spread. So all you have to do is take 2 cards off the top, put them on the bottom, you're ready for an Ascanio spread in the next part of the trick. Here is the basic method for Mercury. Start with 4 kings and 4 aces. The 4 kings go face down in between the 4 aces. So you should have ace, ace, 4 kings, then ace, ace. Start with 1 Ascanio spread, showing 4 aces. With the block here. Your right hand packet comes up and over the top card. It should be a very small motion. Don't draw any attention to it. Just subtly comes up here, square it up. You've taken the top card and put it third from the bottom. Now when you spread, that card will be hidden here and you've exposed a face down card. Do this again. Make sure that you don't go up and forward when you do this, because it's easy to expose this block. always go sideways and over to the top. Square it up, and you show another card face down. Now, no matter how many times you go over the top like this, you'll never change these two. So this time, you go back in the middle, don't go on top, and thumb off one card to the bottom. You might think that this would be an unnatural movement and people would suspect it. I've performed this probably hundreds of times, and no one's ever commented on it. Even if they think it's strange, all you did was take a card from the top to the bottom, and how could that affect some cards turning over? I don't think you have to worry about it. So you're right here. Another Ascanio spread shows one more card face down. Close it up, repeat the last movement. Top card goes to the bottom, and you show 4 cards face down. Now, all you have to do, since they're in exactly the opposite order, aces are in the middle, kings on the outside, all you have to do is turn the cards over, do an Ascanio spread, and it shows 4 kings. Let's go through that one more time. Ace, ace, 4 kings, ace, ace. One Ascanio spread shows 4 aces. This card comes over the top. Ascanio spread comes over the top. Ascanio spread, card comes off to the bottom. Ascanio spread, card comes off to the bottom. Ascanio spread, all 4 aces are face down. And then all you do is turn them over. And you show 4 cards face up. I think that just turning the cards over is a little boring, so I like to make it a magical transformation. I hold the cards with my 3rd finger and thumb from the upper left and lower right corners. That's to be upper left and lower right. Like this. My 1st finger rotates the cards, it spins them around. They rotate here and here. I do that under cover of shaking it. So it looks like this. They change. Slow motion, just up, down, like that. And all 4 cards have turned into kings. That was the basic method, but when I'm performing the trick, I usually stop after the 4 aces have turned over and act as if the trick is over. I'll step back, maybe I'll relax, people around me will relax, and sometimes they'll say something like, that was a great trick, or the worst trick I've ever seen, or something like that. Then I'll say, hey, wait, one more thing, watch this. See, they're all the aces here, and then I turn them into kings. That adds a lot, because it's as if you did 2 tricks, and the second trick is twice as good. If you put them right next to each other, it usually doesn't have quite as good an effect. And what's really good is if they say something like, hey, can you turn it back over again? Haha, like you couldn't possibly do that, and they're gonna make you look bad. Well, then you say something like, well, I could do that, that'd be too easy. How about I'll turn them all into kings? And then that really gets them. Now I'm going to show you 3 different ways to get into the trick. Keep in mind that the biggest challenge in this trick is proving to people that you have only 4 cards. The first thing that will occur to someone when they see the trick is he has 4 kings and 4 aces in there. So anything you can do to establish the fact that you have 4 and only 4 cards will make the trick stronger. If you can, the best thing to do is to hand out 4 cards to be examined at the beginning and the end of the trick. The first way to get into this trick, by far the easiest, is just have the setup all ready for you in your pocket on top of the deck, so you can just go straight into the trick. Problem is that suggests that you have more than 4 cards. The next best way to do it, and this is the way that I generally do, is to have the 4 kings on top of the deck. Then the 4 aces go somewhere in the middle, shuffle into the deck. Then you can go through and find the 4 aces. This helps to suggest that there's no setup and you don't have any extra cards in there. Get the 4 aces. Then you can hand them out to the spectators and get a 4-card break underneath the 4 kings. You can do that one-handed if you know how. It The worst thing about this is that you pretty much have to be watching to make sure you only got 3. You didn't get, only got 4. You didn't get 3 or 5. So make sure they're examining these cards and they're misdirected well. Then, as soon as they hand in the back, they'll probably be a little messy, so square them up on the deck, grab the break, and you've got 4 aces and the 4 kings. The last way to do it is by far the hardest, and you have to use a cop. So you have the same setup, 4 kings on top, the 4 aces go in the center somewhere. As before, go through, find the 4 aces, and pull them out. You're going to get a break again. You can either get a one-handed break like before, or because they're probably pretty messy, when you strip them out, you can set them on the deck and get a break while you're squaring them up. Whatever you do, get a break below the 4 kings. Hand these out. Now, you need to take these cards and put them on the bottom somehow. You can just cut them, or you can do a pass. I think a cut is fine. People aren't going to notice the cut because they're looking at these cards. Even if they did, you're just cutting the cards. I mean, how can that help with the trick? It's a very natural thing to do, so don't worry about it. Cut the cards, get the kings to the bottom, and keep a break right here. Now, cop those cards, set the deck down. So you have the 4 kings here. You take back the 4 cards, and you're going to add those 4 to the aces, so you have kings there. This is probably the hardest part. You'll need to practice with a mirror or a video camera, or have a friend watch you so you can make that look good. It's best to have some misdirection right here. And you can go into the trick. The advantage of this part is that you have the 4 aces straight from their hands, and you go straight to your hands and you do the trick without going to the deck. Here's the simplest ending. You start by showing your 4 kings, the ending of the last phase. You take your right hand packet, that's with all the aces, goes underneath. So you have 4 kings, then 4 aces. Simply drop that on the deck. You can hand out your kings. I like to have 4 aces already in the deck, face up, so I can spread out and show the 4 aces here. Here's another ending like the last one if you don't have the 4 aces already set up in your deck, face up. Show the 4 kings. Again, it goes to the bottom. Drop them on your deck, but leave a shelf, sort of. You drop them like this. So there's a shelf here with the 4 aces. So when I pick them up, I'll get a break there. A little exaggerated break. Push off the 4 kings. Hand them out for them to examine. While they're doing that, you're going to put the 4 aces face up in the center. The move looks like this. Okay. It's kind of like the pass, but the cards end up face up in the center instead of simply switching places. I'm going to break off half the deck here, as if I was going to take it out. The thumb catches this edge here, and it rotates sort of right there, like this. As it goes up, when these two are about equal, these 2 fingers squish that packet flat, and then it goes back in. Show you again. Break off half, rotates up, sort of a tent here. Squishes flat, and that goes down. Okay, let me show you. This is about full speed. So it's not invisible. You need to be misdirecting. Do it when they're examining these cards. You have to watch everyone carefully. You can tell when they're not going to see it. It's a pretty small movement. You don't really have to worry about it. Just make sure they're not looking at you when you do it. And as I said before, they look where you look. Look at their hands and say, hey, make sure there are no cards in there, right? And they'll look down too. You do it then. They'll never catch it. Here's that last ending. I'll perform it this time so you can get a good idea what it's supposed to look like. 4 kings here. drop them on the deck, get my break. You can check the cards out while they're looking. I did the move, set them down, and I want them to forget that I even touched the deck. I want them to be focusing on these cards. I get rid of the deck, get it out of my hands as soon as I can. Then when they hand me these back, spread the cards out. There are the aces in the center. Here's another ending you can use if you don't have a deck handy to set the cards down on. So you've got your 4 kings, as before, and you're going to set the cards down like that. And you see, they won't notice the ace there because it's over here in my hand. I cop them. I'll show you how to do that. It's called a gambler's cop. I've got 4 aces in the center. Do this. This goes underneath, and I leave this sticking back a little bit. When I finish that spread, show you again. Spread. This comes over and it comes back a little bit. The reason is I want to get that card. I pull the top card up as I'm squeezing together, so I've got a break there now. One more time really quick. Like this. Goes underneath. Pulls up. I want to get just the top card. They got a little bend, so I'm not going to be able to get it. And I've got a break there. Now, this is all it looks like. In the back, I've got my break here with my thumb. This comes back, I leave it, and bring the rest of the cards up. So I've got the 4 aces stuck back here. Right there. Now, all I do is take the cards, set them down here, hand them to somebody. If you don't have a place to set them down, hand them to somebody. My left arm follows my side with the cards. Now, the biggest mistake people do is they're afraid they're going to get caught, and they put their hand behind their back, all the way back here. That is very unnatural. Don't ever do that. As long as you direct attention to here and make this hand natural, they won't see it. Of course, you can't have people standing right next to you, but you'd be surprised how wide angles you can get away with a cop. And if you've got quite a few people, if you turn a little to the side, it also helps, because that'll cut off all these people's angles. They won't even see your hand, let alone the cards. So you come down here, set them down, and these can go in your pocket, or whatever you like. Practice just letting your hand fall without the cards, because this is the biggest difficulty in this thing. This trick is you just make it look exactly like your hand is empty, and it'll look empty. Here's one more ending you can do if you don't have a deck handy to set the cards down on and you don't want to do the cop. I wouldn't generally recommend this. I'd recommend learning the cop because it's a great move, even apart from this trick, and it'll serve you everywhere. But if you don't want to, you do this. So you have your 4 kings, you go underneath again, and you have your 4 aces there. You turn one card over, 1 king, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. And now you're seeing a face-down ace, but they'll think you're seeing the first face-down king that you put there. I like generally to do the cop and do this, but if someone's looking really closely, if they're burning my hands, I won't do it. Even if I think they suspect extra cards, I won't do it, because they're probably going to catch me if they're looking really close. If I see someone not looking real close, but I can tell they're kind of thinking, he's got more cards there, I'll definitely do the cop so I can hand them 4 aces straight from my hands. That's by far the best thing to do. But if they're burning your hands, there's no reason to do it. Just sit them on the deck, whatever you like. You'll find yourself performing this for people in all different situations, and I'm going to show you how to use each situation to your advantage. You want people to be generally looking face on to your pack of cards, your packet here. So if people are in front of me, I generally try to get them together in a group and then just turn it down like this. And do the trick here, so they don't have a bad angle with this block right here. If people are sitting down or they're so low that I can't turn this far without being very uncomfortable, I'll either do it over my shoulder like this or just over here. So I don't have this weird turning over here like this. this weird angle. One time I was doing it for a few people in front of me. I was doing it just like this, and we were in a crowded area, and a whole bunch of people started coming. I was completely surrounded. I was halfway through the trick. I couldn't stop, but I couldn't keep on going because people on the sides and stuff would see what was happening. So I thought fast, and I just crouched down like this on the floor and did the trick right above the floor. So anyone close enough to see it had to look straight down on it. People further back wouldn't be able to see because people were in the way. It was perfect. So I finished the trick, stood up, and people loved it. It was great. You should practice doing the trick at every one of these angles so you're prepared for any situation. Here, I've got the 4 aces here. Here, you can hold it, make sure there are no cards in between the 4 aces. Just the 4 aces right there, right? Just 4 aces? Okay, here. I'm gonna, here, hold that. Books, right there. Eyes, got the 4 aces here. Clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds. Now watch the ace of spades. Take it out, turn it over again. It's an imaginary card. Took it out, turn it over, and then the ace of spades, the real one, turns over. Here, the ace of hearts. That's the ace of hearts right there. Shake it. Ace of hearts turns over.
So weird.
Here, watch it.
I want to
Oops.
do the one that you get the edge.
I'll do it one more time. Shake it like this. Then one more turns over. So there's one more left, the ace of clubs. Shake it again. Okay. No, wait. It gets better, Take the 4 aces, put them back in. I'll take the 4 kings out of the deck. So now all my cards are kings. Now, look, open the deck there, and spread through it. Spread through it, something between the middle there. Here, 4 aces.
I like it when I thought you had I want to try it. You know what you did? In this performance, one of the girls on my right was watching a little more closely than the others, and I could tell that she was getting suspicious, so I made sure I did the cop, and I handed the cards to her when I was done. It was perfect because you can actually hear her say in the video something like, "Oh, I thought he had more cards, that was amazing." I also used the extra cards, the setup cards in the middle of the deck, as misdirection later on, because when I did the cop, everyone was staring at the deck. You can't really tell in the video, but everyone is looking at the deck when it happens. And like I said before, they look where you look. I was staring at the deck just as much as anyone else was while I did the move.
So that's Mercury. Put in the time to practice it, make it natural, make it smooth. It's a great trick. I do it all the time. All you need is a deck of cards, no gimmicks. You can do it for one person, do it surrounded. I've done it for a parlor setting with 50 people. It was great. So get out there, make it beautiful, make it natural, make it smooth, make it Mercury.